Vicky.
Hello.
How are you?
This is a bit weird.
I know, yeah.
I also have a purring cat on my lap in case that's coming through on the microphone.
Normally we're speaking to other people. We're going to have a chat with each other about 12 months of Garage Talk Unwrapped. 12 months of Garage Talk Unwrapped, 2 years of Garage Talk Online.
Yep.
Your first few full months in the business.
Yeah.
How you found it?
It's been a journey. I think when you first started talking about Garage Talk 2 years ago, I was a bit sceptical and couldn't really see your vision. But yeah, I'm eating humble pie now. I think it's going really well. I'm really pleased with the progress we've made and the traction that we're getting. It can only get better. And definitely having, because I was doing some HR consultancy before, having left there end of August and being able to focus on Garage Talk. I've seen a big improvement on engagement and just even sharing on social media, that kind of stuff that we didn't have time to do before.
Yeah.
It's going well. What do you think?
I think it's been a project for 2 years. I always knew it was a 2 year project to get things properly to where I wanted them to be. And we are where I want to be. It's been, it is. And the thing is, the websites, there's plenty of websites in this industry, news websites. What our key is the video. And that was always our USP. And to bring out a monthly video was a big commitment, not just from us, but from manufacturers, from garage owners, from the whole industry to contribute to it as well. Because we can only go out and film a certain amount of things, as you know. And we do our best to get to the events and things. But yeah, I think what we're starting to see now is a lot of people are contributing their own videos towards the magazine, which is fantastic. They're also seeing the benefit. People are seeing us when we're out and about. I mean, what's it like when somebody says?
Well, being at shows and, overhearing people go, oh, there's Garage Talk. And we're like, what?
That's us, yeah. That's us. But it's not about us, but it's great it's being seen because that means people are watching. Indeed, I've just had a look at the YouTube figures. We've had 45,000 views this year. Now, we're an industry, and our main aim is to show the garages what's going on. There's 10,000, 11,000 independent garages in the UK. I think we probably hit the majority of those, and that's really, hopefully, yes, and that's really our aim, of course, and where the manufacturers want to be, who are supporting the channel. So yeah, I'm really pleased where we're at, and I'm looking forward to the next 12 months. One of the biggest things for me this year, since you've joined full time, really, has been the difference in content. It was easy for me to go and interview somebody because you need a camera, a microphone, and set up and a light, and away you go. And
you love talking to people.
And I love talking to people, yes. But you changed things, didn't you, dramatically?
I wouldn't say dramatically. I think it's we're still working on it. But I think having interviews in the video magazine would be a little bit tedious. Obviously, it's great having people wanting to talk to us, and what they're saying is really important, and we want to hear it. The garages want to hear it. Got a cat on your shoulder. But thinking about a traditional paper magazine, print magazine, you wouldn't just have interviews in there. You have different features, and you have polls, and you have pictures, and whatever. It's varied, and I think that's what we need to try and do with the magazine, and changing things up, not having it be kind of stagnant, and making sure that there's something there for all of the viewers. If they're not interested in one interview, they're interested in this feature, or
Yeah, I tend to agree, and it was always the problem was just time, as you're aware. I mean, you're editing 48 places at once for first half of the year, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But now you have to concentrate. We are getting that content. It's time and resources, but of course now you've joined the business. The factory tours have added a lot, haven't they?
They're brilliant.
It's not just the factory tours, the people that take us around and take the time, and also the hospitality side of things as well.
We've had really amazing support from PR companies and manufacturers, and lots of industry professionals. I don't think even just sharing stuff, you're sharing the episodes on LinkedIn and social media, and people engaging with us on TikTok for the silly videos that I make. It all helps, and I'm really pleased with the support we've had.
TikTok videos, who's mostly the brunt of those?
Not me, I'm not in front of the camera.
No, who's most of it's me, isn't it? Yeah. I think the funniest one was at Paddock Speed Shop with the Halloween one. Yeah, the scary one. But, and also, we've had the likes of Mark Field, who has enabled us to put quite a funny video together. it's not all about the seriousness of the industry. No. It's a very serious industry. It's one of the largest in the UK. But it's also a bit about having a bit of fun, isn't it? And things. And that's what we're enjoying.
It's about connecting with our audience, which is what we want to do and trying to do. So anyway, we can do that.
One thing that I've enjoyed really is we've now got 7,500 industry professionals on our newsletter subscriber list, which goes out weekly. Mm-hmm. When one joins from a business, sometimes you see 3, 4 people subscribe to the business. That's rewarding.
They're obviously talking about it with each other, which is good.
Which means we are educating the businesses as a whole, isn't it?
Okay.
I think so, yeah. I think that's really the key, is that the business, actually, purchasing manager doesn't make the decision. It's what the mechanics want, and he has to listen to the mechanics. I think that's probably the thing where we're educating mechanics on what they need to make that business run easier. I mean, we were at manufacturers this week, weren't we? And they were talking about just making things easier especially in the diagnostics.
For technicians.
Yeah, for technicians, because they're making the money by doing the job, not by diagnosing the problem, aren't they? And I think that's the way the industry needs to go, isn't it? I think
everybody needs to work together. You know, there's a common goal, making sure that the vehicles are safe on the roads. It's easy sometimes to look at competitors a bit too much. Like you say, we're trying to just share the message from different manufacturers, educate people as much as they want, for them to decide what's best for their garage, for their business, and drive the trends that way.
And I think one thing that resonates for me from this year is Fuzz Townsend, and he said, you wouldn't get in a plane without mechanic.
Oh, you keep saying that.
I know I do, but it's so true.
Yeah.
You wouldn't, these days a car is becoming more and more, self-running. So why wouldn't you get it
with
checked?
All the ADAS solutions going in.
Yeah.
How fast can cars drive on the roads with, other cars? There's so many different factors that make driving such a risk. Why wouldn't you make sure that your car's safe?
One big problem this year, and we went on about it at the start of the year, is recruitment and retention of staff. You've been in an automotive business in the industry, and you've experienced it on that kind of level. Where does the industry stand at the moment?
Yeah, so I worked in HR in an automotive business, but in terms of recruitment, I think across the board it's really difficult at the moment. It doesn't matter what kind of job role you're trying to recruit for. It's not the market for employers right now. Employees, are demanding what they want out of the job, and it's all flexibility, and you say it, you kind of blame the millennials. They want the flexibility, and they want to feel like they're appreciated, and they're doing the job for not just money, but they're being looked after, which doesn't really resonate with you, and I get that, but.
No, I think you do have to take into consideration people today. I think it's changed, but I think we've gone too far the other way now. I think the balance is too weighted towards the employee rather than the employer.
I think it's with new laws coming in, with new legislation coming in from the government. I agree. It's not easy to employ people, and it certainly won't be next year. I'm so glad I'm not in HR anymore, but. Yeah, recruitment has challenges. I think we're definitely not diverse enough as an industry, but is that because, we have people from different genders, religions, ethnicities applying for jobs, and we're not giving them the jobs, or are we not even attracting them to begin with?
I think it's the attraction of the business. I think we're still seeing that. I'm talking to you now because you work in an automotive business previously. And I don't think, we've got 20% in some businesses of female in that business. You spoke to the Women's Automotive Club on this, didn't you? And they had a very interesting point as well.
Yeah, it was Steph, I think, from the Women's Automotive Network. She said that, even if you can attract women into jobs in the automotive industry, something like 50%, I think she said, within the first year leave the job.
Yeah.
So even if we are managing to attract them into the industry, where are they going? Why are they going? And I think it's, important to think that that's just one statistic, and in isolation, it could be even worse in financial services or whatever. But it's not a good statistic, and it might suggest that there's something going awry when they get the job. And yes, from experience, not I've been a HR consultant for a few years. We worked with many different businesses and different industries. From my experience, automotive businesses can be unwelcoming for females. It does have that kind of feeling of a boys' club, and doesn't matter what is said. It's banter. Laugh at it, lighten up. It's not a very progressive industry, and the business owners aren't kind of encouraging progression, diversity, inclusion. It's I think they prefer to keep it as it is, and the majority of the male staff are happy. So there is that kind of expectation that the male employees will be paid more. They will be managers. On a team of senior managers, you might have 1 or 2 females out of 10.
Do you sometimes feel that female's token, just to say we've got a female at times as well?
It can be.
Yeah. Because I don't think we're selecting people on skills at times. I think we're selecting them on genders, which is the wrong way around. We select them on the skills and their abilities, but we don't evaluate the skills and abilities based on that. We sometimes assess skills and abilities on genders. I
disagree. I think that from my experience, I feel that in an automotive industry that's been going for a number of years, if you think about the number of male employees who've been working in that business for years and years and years, when we weren't talking about this, women probably wouldn't have been working there, or they would have been working there in a purely admin role, or not in the same department as a group of men, maybe doing sales or fabrication or something like that. I think in lots of companies, staff aren't promoted because of their skills or their qualifications. It's because they've been there the longest, or they're showing the most kind of enthusiasm, so they're promoted. Doesn't make them a good manager. No. Doesn't mean that they're right in the role. Doesn't mean that the more qualified woman in the room wouldn't be a better fit, but that person's been there longer. Yeah. So no, but that's not unique to automotive. I think that's an issue anyway. Well, did I mention I'm glad I'm not in HR?
I think you done. Well, look at football is a massive one as well. We've started saying employing people because of their gender or their ethnicity. It should always be based. I don't care where you're from, who you are. If you're good at your job, then go and do it on that basis.
It's difficult. I get what you're saying, but how else are we going to increase diversity in some companies? There's obviously something that's stopping these people being hired in the first place. So, you talk about anonymizing CVs so that you can't see their names, which, still for a lot of people, they'll rule people in or out because of their names or because of where they live or something else. I agree, it's not helping particularly to have the right person in that job, but how else are we going to increase diversity and inclusion?
Educating the directors, educating the management teams, having good management teams.
Do you really think they don't know?
Subconsciously they've got to, haven't they? But again, we can only help that situation, our outlet, because we are speaking to thousands of people. One company, one of the federations I enjoy working with on this, and I think they're very passionate, is the IAAF. We've seen Mark at a lot of the events for the female, the International Women's Day. Yeah. And he's very passionate about turning around because he knows this is a solution to the recruitment problem.
Yeah, and Tina Drayson, we were talking to her at the IAAF Summer Conference, and she said an interesting point again at that Women's International Day event that we went to. Yeah. And she said Mark Field was there, and he said, being in a room full of women, he said, okay, I can kind of see it from a woman's point of view now, or something along the lines. But it's sometimes it can be quite daunting when we go to press events more than anything. I think it's, I can stand in a room and try and count the number of women there, and in a room of 60, 70 people, there's maybe 10 women. Yeah. And we kind of just sometimes I do feel that I'm not. Maybe it's because they don't know me. It's a very incestuous industry.
It is, yeah.
But I feel like I'm not really spoken to. I'm kind of ignored. But again, I there could be lots of reasons for that.
One thing I've noticed about you, though, this year is that, and so certainly people from other females from the press, females from the PR companies, you're forming very strong bonds, and you're actually working closer together.
I think women do.
Yeah.
I think that's how we kind of get through it.
But I also think, but the problem, of course, is that the male population that are mixing with you good selves, we already know the problems. We're already there. We're already helping. We're already making females make a major part of the industry. We actually need the other people in there that don't understand, don't we? And things like that.
I mean, I don't think anybody's perfect. You, for example, we were at an event the other week and somebody was going around the room naming each member of the press. They skipped me and introduced you. You didn't. You didn't introduce
I thought it would come
me.
back to you. I thought it would come back to you. I know. Yeah, but yeah, and one thing. I mean,
but what am I supposed to do in that situation?
Yeah, and I understand that, and I agree. I mean, one thing that annoys me really when we're out is when people walk past you, and we've experienced that. Even at the Blend event recently, you spoke to somebody and they walked past you, and kind of laughed. It's almost like we've still got that male.
Maybe it's just me.
No, it's not. Because you are known in the industry, and you are becoming well known for what you do, and you do good for the industry as a whole. That annoys me because
it annoys me too.
It does. I know it does. I know I accept that, but Garage Talk is us. It's not me. It's not you. It's us. Without either one of us as the cogs, it doesn't work. And that needs to be respected because. All we're trying to do, we're actually just trying to offer a service of connecting the manufacturers with the garage owners. And to be fair, a lot of the ignorance comes from the manufacturers, not the garage owners, who actually should be welcoming us and saying, how do we get to talk to the garage that you talk to?
Yeah.
And I know that really upset you at the Blend event, didn't it, recently?
And at the UK Garage and Body Shop event, there was an incident. But as you know, I'm not as talkative as you.
No.
I don't particularly enjoy being in front of the camera. I prefer being in the background working. But it doesn't mean if I speak to you that you don't need to speak to me.
Yeah. And if you're experiencing that, then everybody must be really. I mean, it's not a one-off incident because it's you. It's an incident because it's a female trying to talk to.
We don't.
It's sad times really, and we need to improve that. But we are starting to see more influencers come through. We've got Louise Baker, the Womanic, that's what I said. We've got Sophie Lydon, the tyre lady. We've got Randeep coming through, who we've spoke to recently as well. And obviously we had Tia, who was the young apprentice. But they've all got these experiences in the industry, aren't we? We need more and more females to show up and say, come on, because we need to get, because if we've got this recruitment problem, we need more people in, and the more diverse people we can attract, the easier it is to recruit.
Yeah, I agree. It's a problem. I'm not belittling that. I think we need to talk about it without kind of ramming it down people's throats, because people do switch off. And we didn't have a great reaction to the International Women's Day newsletter that we put out. So it just goes to show that what kind of things that people in the industry just aren't interested in.
That was very sad. That so many unsubscribed from our newsletter within an hour of sending that out, whereas normally we don't get many at all.
It was
depressing.
Disheartening.
Yeah,
it was. It's finding a way to talk about it that's going to change things. It's going to change people's opinion. Otherwise, we'll be here in another 10 years having the same conversation.
Of course, the other big debate now, and it's been brought back by the government this week, really, is EVs and ICE engines, etc. What do you think about that debate? Because it's the biggest debate around.
To begin with, it was really interesting, and now it's become a little bit tedious. I think it is spoken about a lot, and obviously it is coming. We do need to know about it, but I think, as you say to people in your interviews, it's just the power source that's changing, and still a lot of the components of the car, a lot of the parts are still going to be the same as they are now. We still need to know about how to fix it. It's for me, it's what I found interesting, especially at the Blend, is that everybody talks about EV. We've got a lot of, big names in the industry that are very passionate about it.
Yeah. Some have made their business out of it.
Yeah. But I feel like the elephant in the room is hydrogen, and nobody really wants to talk about it. It's almost a bit taboo, and kind of it's mentioned sometimes, but only in passing, and nobody. It's almost like we don't know enough about it, or people are too either keeping it close to their chest what they know about it, or don't feel that they want to share it. But it's I find that a bit strange, and I want to know more about it.
Well, it's a future technology, isn't it? I think the one thing for me is that we've basically created this massive wall, and there's an argument, and you're either on one side or the other. And we saw it. Yeah, and we saw it at the conference that we were at in Coventry. Basically, we had two businesses that invested heavily in EV, and then we had somebody else on the panel that said it's not going to happen. I think
it's happening.
It's happening, and I think that's the problem, is that there's no balance. I think this we've got to accept it's happening, but we've also got to accept that there is a lot that's not going to change in the industry.
Yeah, it's not all going to be EV.
No. And I think that's the problem, is that we're trying to ram EV down the throats. People are fighting back against it. And what we're actually missing out on, really, is this massive gap of, if you embrace it and work with it, you can actually create your own niche market at the moment.
There are two sides, and it was interesting on the last episode of the Grand Tour when Jeremy Clarkson said one of the reasons that he wanted to stop doing the show was because he's not interested in electric vehicles.
Yeah.
Well, there will still be classic cars. There will still be ICEs around. It's maybe Amazon must have been pushing them to do more on electric vehicles, and he was going, no, I don't want anything to do with it. So I feel like it is, you do have the rebels who are like, I'm not going to invest in EV, I don't want anything to do with it, and then the ones who are embracing it and wanting to change. But I think that's typical of the automotive industry, not wanting to move forward. And
but I think what the government has done, though, is they have damaged the industry. Certainly the Labour government recently, because you've had Ford and Vauxhall now who are closing plants. Just in the last couple of weeks, they've both been announced. And it's because people don't know where they stand. And the Tories, they said 2030 and 2035. Now the Labour have come in, they're changing it. They've obviously taken some of the subsidies away. And at the end of the day, it's not just the UK government that's running this. The whole world's trying to push EV. And without leadership, how do you expect leadership on the shop floor?
Yeah, the industry is in a state of flux, I think, because of the government not making their mind up. With the mandate, so electric cars needing to make up 22% of sales for new vehicles this year. And if they don't, then the manufacturers get fined £15,000 for cars and £18,000 for vans. I mean, what do we expect? What are they going to,
And also with the recent budget, of course, as well, Labour doing their usual borrow a lot of money and tax high. It's businesses that are bearing the brunt, and that on top of these fines is just making it impossible to supply the market at the price that they need to, isn't it?
Businesses did come off.
Yes, but that's a political argument. We won't get involved in that one today, but I'm sure we'll have our thoughts as business owners on that. So, moving forward now, next 12 months, what do you expect to see Garage Talk?
I'm expecting to retire and move to Barbados. No, I just want to keep creating varied, engaging episodes for the magazine. Thinking of new ideas, maybe collaborating with some more manufacturers, and just growing the audience. Just keep on making it a success, as I know that you thought it would be.
We're forgetting a little event in June. We've got.
Oh gosh, yeah. Just a little event. Yeah, Automechanica. That's going to be brilliant.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be phenomenal. I mean, thank you to Messi Frankfurt for making us a media partner. It's an honour. But we're going to try and go live as much as we can. Wi-Fi allowing. We will do some live stuff, obviously, and we'll create a lot of content for the next few magazines there as well. But obviously, it's Wi-Fi dependent. We're making our own arrangements for that, of course, as well. But yeah, I just think that's a massive thing to be in front of the whole industry, not just from the UK, but from the whole of the world, to come to Automechanica. It's an amazing opportunity. I want to manufacturers support as well. We're talking to more and more manufacturers who are looking to support us for next year, which means we can invest in the channel more as well. The biggest things for me are TikTok. I think that'll grow
It's just
exponentially.
time, but yeah, definitely.
It is. And also, you know, we're almost at 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. You know, if we can get to 5,000 next year, that would be absolutely amazing. If we can get to 3 million,
make sure you subscribe.
Yeah, if you get to 3 million, don't stop subscribing. But 5,000, you know, that's why we work, isn't it? Small targets, and just because we want the right audience, not a huge audience. We want the right audience, and if that right audience is huge, then we'll take it. And just pair up the manufacturers with the garages and the mechanics. I think that's the key. We're just the people that are doing that and facilitating. But yeah, I think thank you to everybody for their support in 2024. It's been fascinating. I think where we started to where we are now, we're miles ahead. And
Proud
thank
of
you.
Ben.
I know, and thank you for for having the for stepping out of employment into full-time self-employment. It's a scary jump, but we've succeeded. We're 4 months down the line now.
I've stopped looking for part-time jobs on Indeed.
No, it is scary.
It is.
We've moved house, so
it's been a
busy
year. Yeah,
it
it's
has.
been good.
If you do see us at an event, come and talk to us. You don't have to talk to us in front of the camera. Come and talk to us anyway, and make sure you press the subscribe button to this channel. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you.
Thank you.